Right, so this week we're doing something a little bit different. We're trying saffron in containers. Now, I've never actively grown this myself, so it means that it's one of those topics where I've done a little bit of research. I'm going to share with you what I found and what I'm trying, and let's see if it works, and this way we can grow together. So, let's get into saffron. Now that I've got all the info up on the board, let's have a look. I will tilt you slightly so we can deal with the lower half of the board just now. But for now, let's go through some of the basics. So from what I found so far is, as far as container size goes, we are looking at a 15 to 20 centimeter depth for the saffron to grow in. And they do prefer a slightly wider container. So for the depth of our container, we're supposed to have a depth of 10 or from 15 to 20 centimeters deep. I don't know that this pot is actually deep enough, so I've just measured out 20 centimeters and we're going to give it a little bit of a check. It's not 100% accurate, but we will be able to plant our plants in here. It's a little bit on the shallow side, but we are going to give it a go anyway. Then we move on to our next section, being the soil. And the kind of soil it likes is loamy soil. This loamy soil is a combination. Essentially what it means is that when you grab the soil and you squeeze it, it should be enough clay and it should have enough sand for it to loosely come together and hold its shape, but not necessarily stay stuck like that. And that just ensures better water retention and growth. I don't know if we have loamy soil or not, so I'm just going to work with what I have. So for saffron, it does prefer well-draining soil, and because it prefers the well-draining soil, it likes a slightly more sandy soil. Now, I don't necessarily know that I have a sandy soil, but here I am going to make one adaptation, and I'm going to add some perlite to my soil mix just to ensure that it is well-draining. Then as far as the planting time goes, ideally you would plant late summer, early autumn. We are currently mid-autumn to late autumn, so we can expect this to take a little longer. But that being said, we do live in a fairly warm area and our winter shouldn't be too harsh for these flowers to come up. Then I'm going to move up here to the corm placement, and this one is pretty cool because of this. A corm is just another way of describing the bulb of this plant, which is cool. I like the way it sounds. So today we're going to plant some corms, and we are going to plant them 7 to 10 centimeters deep in the pot, so under the soil, and we're going to space them 5 to 7 centimeters apart. So that will then obviously translate into their width. Over here in this bag, I have our corms, the ones we're going to plant out today. So I'm just going to pull those out. I did get 8 of them, however I am only going to be planting a few in this container. Possibly 6. Right, now that we've added our perlite to the soil, we're going to start adding in our corms. And I do believe the roots grow from here, and then this would be the sprouting section of the corm. So I'm just going to place them where I want them, just to see if I can get them to fit in a little bit better. I am doing somewhat of a zigzag pattern here, just because then it gives you a wider gap around your plant, but you can still use the space within your actual container itself. So while they are close to the edge, they still do have room to sprawl out and grow as they need. So I think I'm quite content with that placing. I'm just going to dig them in and then cover them completely, and hopefully they'll grow for us. So as far as the depth goes, remember we are aiming for a 7 to 10 centimeter depth, and I do believe that is to allow the foliage to grow up. We're going to move on to our maintenance first. So for our maintenance on this particular plant, we are going to mulch it, I would have done that anyway, and typically I would do that for water saving purposes, but in this case it's actually being used for weed suppression because the saffron doesn't like to compete with other plants. Okay, let's put our mulch down. So I think 1 will probably be enough. We don't want it to be too thick. We do want it to serve a purpose. If need be, you can always come back and just add a little bit over the top. I am, however, going to dig out the little stones that are in this mix because I have literally picked them up off of the driveway because the chickens got into the mulch bags and tore those open. Then we're going to take a look at the sunlight. This one is important, and fortunately for us, because we are growing in containers, it means that we can shift our container to the exact perfect spot for us. So the saffron requires sunlight, full sun, and that means preferably 6 hours or more sunlight in a day. So not too long ago, we actually set up this area and I did plant some bulbinella in this bottom container, but unfortunately the chickens have eaten it and, well, there's not much growing in here. So I'm going to deadhead this marigold over here, remove this container and replace it with the pink one. But first, gloves. I just want to sweep out this area with the leaf litter, and I'm going to have to work fast. And I think while I'm here, I'm going to do a slight shuffle. I'm going to pull this green container forward and push the basil slightly further back because it is quite a bit taller. I have this bush, I don't know what it is. It has pretty white flowers on it though. And I am going to put it in here, in this gap. Okay, it's still not 100% beautiful, but it will do for now. It'll keep the chickens at bay and still keep the space nice and full. And we'll be able to monitor how our saffron is growing. Next section we're going to look at is watering. Saffron does have very specific watering needs, and essentially what that is it means that the saffron prefers a light moisture in their container. They don't like to be overwatered or waterlogged because that can lead to root rot. So light watering once you've planted it, and then you're going to keep the soil moist, and then you're going to actually stop your watering process when the plant's foliage dies back, and then you know the plant is spent. You cut your watering, and then you can save those corms for the following year. Right, so our last task of the day is just to give this a good watering in. Light, make sure that it's moist. This is where we're sitting at the moment. I have crammed in too much in this corner, and I'm sure some of it will definitely be coming out just to open up the space for us a little bit. But for now, this container has got our saffron in, and we're going to keep up to date with how it grows. So for me, I just want to say thanks for hanging out with me today as I learned about planting saffron, and here's holding thumbs that it grows. If you're interested in more videos like this, don't forget to like and subscribe, and then that way we can grow together.